I vow to not show any partiality as we do the Big 12 pre show.
We talked about Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado, my ass. This is going to be a fun one, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the Big 12. We're going to do the Big 12 walk through. You can't talk about OU yet.
Nope, can't do it.
He can't do it.
Can't do it yet.
I can talk about this, and I'm going to love this one. Yeah, we'll see. Come on in. Let's talk about the Big 12. Here we go. Welcome you back yet again for the Midnight Riders podcast. I am Johnny.
I'm Chuck.
And it's time for the Big 12. As most of you know, we're from Oklahoma and Big 12 country, Big 8 country, Big whatever country.
Yep.
Big 12's new. The new.
Oh man, it's got a new look
Big
this
12.
year. That's for damn sure. OU Texas gone. And
Well, I mean, and we say it in jest. We have fun with it because OSU doesn't have to play OU anymore, you know. But it's. I actually think the conference is going to be. It's damn sure going to be more competitive.
oh, it's gonna be good.
It's
It's gonna be fun to watch this year.
You can't. I don't know if you can really say it's going to be better. In a one kind of way, it will be
I think
because
in a
it's
way
going
it
to.
is.
Well, it's going to be more competitive. You're
Right.
going to have more teams that are going to be. You know, every year it's Oklahoma, Texas, and everybody else.
Right.
But lately Oklahoma State's been trying. I mean, Kansas State's always there. TCU came in and took one. Baylor was really good. I mean, it was starting to drift away from that until the dollars come in, and then OU and Texas jump ship and go do their thing, which is fine. Good riddance. Have a good time. But this is going to be fun. This Big 12 season is going to be fun.
Well, you add the Arizona teams, you add Utah, which I thought was huge, and then you add Deion Sanders University, and then you're ready to go.
Well, we got 16 teams now in the Big 12. Can we please rename all these conferences? Please.
No.
Take the numbers out.
Just find something else.
Just take the numbers out.
Yeah.
Just find a fun name. Something. One of my many minuscule rants, but let's talk about the Big 12. Let's start down here, yonder. We'll start with the University of Cincinnati Bearcats.
Oh, well, you're going with them last?
I'm going with them last. I
got them next to last, but yeah.
I got nothing. I mean, they were 1-8 in conference last year. They were 3-9 overall. I got nothing.
Well, they lost 9 of their last 10. They got
I mean, you score 24 a year. 24. You average 24. You give up 30. You got a lot of starters coming back, which could be a good thing for them.
They got some transfers. They do. They got a quarterback from Indiana, Brendan Swordsby. They got a running back from Ohio State, Evan Pryor.
Okay.
So they're trying.
And the thing about it is they got who's that? Satterfield's been there 10 years, 11 years.
This been that long? I don't know. They got a new coordinator coming in. They've got one of the best defensive linemen in the conference. Don's got one of the best names, Dante Corleone.
I know he's been head coach for 1 year. Yeah, he's been there. Okay, he'd been there for a while, but
they hit the portal hard.
Which they had. They had to. They're one of those teams that needed it, and can they do anything with it? I don't know. I just don't think that they're going to be competitive here.
I think you're a couple years from hitting the portal hard, from making any kind of noise here.
Well, I mean, their non-conference schedules. You got Miami of Ohio, you got Pitt, you got Towson State. I mean, you can win all of that. The schedule for the Big 12 this year, you're playing 9 in conference games and 3 outside. unlike the weak ass SEC who decides to play 4 non-conference games when they got all those teams in the conference.
Well,
So
you can't have them beating up on each other.
Well,
How the hell are they going to get 5 in the playoffs if they beat up on each other?
Just where we're not doing the SEC yet. We're going to talk about that later. So they got their 3 non-conference games. I mean, Cincinnati's just going to be one of those teams. They're going to be struggling. They're not going to be able to compete very well in this conference. They didn't do much to change. We'll see. We'll see how they do.
4 or 5 wins, maybe.
They're
on a good year.
They're a serviceable team, but they got a ways to go.
Yeah, they're not going to get away.
Let's move to one of the first new ones in this conference this year. That's Arizona State, the Sun Devils. Last year in the Pac-12 schedule, I mean, they were what 2 and 7.
2 and 7, 3 and 9. Gave up 32 points a game.
They didn't fare too well. They didn't. I mean, they only scored 17 points a game. I mean, they had no offense to speak of.
Well, no, they had a bowl ban in 23.
Well, they lost their quarterback.
Lost a lot to the portal. They're in a
huge rebuilding situation. They followed Arizona over here, and that's fine. I mean, Arizona State's good. They're going to be. They usually, ever so often, have a good quality season in the football side. Now, will their recruiting do any better being in the Big 12? I don't know.
Probably not. I mean, they had a Michigan State transfer quarterback, same rhetoric,
Right.
but they only returned 3 defensive starters.
Yeah, they got 4 offensive starters, but they got 3 defensive starters from a team that was not very good.
They
anyway.
gave up 32 a game anyway. So
you're going to bring in a head coach. You got to. I mean, I don't know. It's the last podcast we had, we talked about the ACC, about how top to bottom, team by team, are they equal to the other Big 3, the Big 12, Big 10, the SEC? And I looked a little closer at that between that podcast and this podcast, and there are some pretty weak teams, down there, and even in the Big 12 as much as. I mean, Arizona State, they were always they got slapped around in the big Pac-12. I mean, they lost. I mean, they lost to Cal. I mean, last year they lost to, of course, Utah. They had Oregon, Arizona. I mean,
I don't look for them to be like a Cincinnati. I look for them to win 4 games, maybe 5.
Well,
maybe.
They play Houston at home. They go to Texas Tech. They go to UCF. They got Arizona. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong schedule. They got Wyoming, Mississippi State, and Texas State as their non-conference.
Texas State's not bad.
No, now they go to Texas Tech, then they have Kansas and Utah at home. That's 3 losses. They go to Cincinnati, which
they can win
either or. Then they go to Oklahoma State, UCF, Kansas State, BYU, Arizona. I mean,
I say BYU's a loss. BYU's not going to be very good this year.
They're going to be
but they're going to be at BYU. So yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah, so I just don't. Welcome to the conference. I hope you do well.
Yeah.
We move on to the Houston Cougars.
I got them finishing last in the conference. I'm not.
Yeah.
Anything. I haven't seen anything.
Bottom line, this ain't basketball, folks.
Yeah.
This is football.
Willie Fritz. I mean, he came in from Tulane, so they're hoping for him to turn some stuff around.
Yeah.
Good coach.
Yeah.
Qualified coach, but man, he's coming into a team that was not any good. New coordinators, new coach. They only got 2 returning starters on defense, but the defense gave up almost 32 points a game. So, yeah. Is that a bad thing? I don't know. But there's a big overhaul going on here. I don't know what their schedule lines up to be, but I don't see them winning more than 2 or 3.
The schedule, they're at home against UNLV.
Still think they'll lose that.
Then they go to OU. Then they're at home against Rice. Rice isn't bad.
No,
I think it's.
They may be at home, but Rice is in Houston too, so
it's an equal game.
Yeah.
Then the conference schedules at Cincinnati, Iowa State at home, at TCU, at Kansas, home against Utah, home against Kansas State, at Arizona.
Jesus.
So they get Kansas, Utah, Kansas State, Arizona, 4 in a row.
Again, you're looking at a 2 or 3. I think they're at a 2 or 3 win season. I got them in the basement. I got them finishing last.
And I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah.
Brigham Young, BYU.
A team that finished 5 and 7 last year, and I think they're taking a step back from there too. I just don't.
Well, they lost to OU, they lost to OSU, they
Right.
lost to Iowa State, they lost to West Virginia, they lost to Texas, they lost to TCU, they lost to Kansas, And
Well, they lost 6 of their last 7.
yeah, I mean the only conference wins they had were Cincinnati and Texas Tech. Their non-conference schedule is not an easy one. They got Southern Illinois at home. Then they got to go to SMU. Then they got to go to Wyoming.
Well, they gave up. I mean, not only they gave up 30 a game last year, but they gave up 35 a game in conference. So they've got to they've got to get better. They only averaged 20 points a game in conference. You gave up 35. They've got to improve both sides.
Well, I mean, they're scheduled. The teams that they pulled out of the Big 12, they got to play. They play a rotating schedule because there's too many teams. They have to play Kansas State, Arizona, Oklahoma State, UCF, Utah, and Kansas. So yeah, they're not going to be doing very well.
And they brought in. I mean, they got a transfer quarterback,
Yeah.
Jerry Bohannon, who from Baylor and South Florida, Utah State. They got transfers coming in to compete for the job. So they're trying to piece something together and hope for the best at this point.
Well, they got the head coach, been there 8 years. He's got a good system that they run. It's just that their defense was bad. They gave up 30 a game. You got only got 4 starters coming back.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to. They're gonna have to change things up,
right?
To get it to where they can be competitive. This conference. Yeah, you don't have OU and Texas anymore, but you know what? The conference at the top level is still pretty strong.
Yeah, the top. We'll get there. Your top 5, 6, 7 in this conference are all.
Yeah,
it's going to be competitive.
Now let's talk about Baylor.
I don't understand Baylor.
I don't either.
Almost winning the conference to not being worth a damn.
Well, they
won the conference.
They went to almost. They almost won the national title to being horrible.
Yeah.
And they didn't lose a lot on those big seasons. I don't know.
That's what I mean. Aranda has gone to got rid of defense coordinator. Now he's calling the plays.
Yeah.
Hired Jake Spavital to run the offense.
Yeah.
So obviously he saw the issues with the defense giving up 33, 34 points a game.
Right.
Offense not scoring. Aranda's not an offensive. He's not an offensive mind. I mean, good head coach, but he's bringing in somebody else to call the play. So he's trying what he can here. I don't know. Boy, they got a couple of decent players, but they don't. There's just nothing on them that just screams, hey, they're going to make a big difference again this year.
Yeah. What's interesting to me when I look at their schedule is they're actually playing 10 conference games this year rather than 9.
Really?
Well, they had a non-conference game. They had a non-conference game set with Utah already.
Right. Oh, that's right.
So they left.
Yeah.
So, they get Tarleton and Air Force as their non-conference games, and Air Force is going to be a tough game.
Air Force, I don't think they're beating Air Force.
Then during conference you get Utah, Colorado, BYU, Iowa State, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State, TCU, West Virginia, in with Kansas. I don't know if they can win 5 games.
Yeah.
I really don't. I don't know if they can win 5 games. I mean, they'll beat Tarleton, but I mean, then they got to win 5 of these. I mean, you do play Houston, you got a shot there, but I mean, the rest of these games they're going to be the underdog in every game they play this year.
Exactly.
They haven't shown me enough in the off season here to prove to me that they're going to be, worthy.
Right.
I don't know.
I still think you're at another 4 or 5 win season for them. I think they're still down unless these. I mean, again, the coaching's only going to do so much.
Right.
Yeah, I like the idea of him calling the defensive plays, bringing in an offensive mind to do the offense now.
Sure.
Whether or not it makes a difference in this conference, I don't think it does this year.
This year in the Big 12 is going to be so interesting. Everybody's going to be playing. I think everybody's going to be playing a little bit harder. Same in the SEC, same in the Big 10, same in the ACC because of the new teams and the new alignment and the new playoff system. Everybody's going to be playing a little harder,
right?
Because they think they have more of a chance to get in the playoff.
Right.
In reality, they probably don't, but you know how that goes. But I mean, I for some reason, I just can't let it go in my head that I think the teams are going to be playing harder, There's a lot of times during the season, during any college football fan can see during football season, you see some things just don't give you 100%. They just don't. Or there's for one reason or another, they just don't feel like winning, or they just don't feel like playing that day, and it didn't matter usually because you didn't get to the playoffs anyway. You couldn't win a national title anyway.
That's the thing. I think before, like you said, OU and Texas, it was always OU, Texas, everybody else. Occasionally, you get somebody else to step up.
Yes.
These middle of the road or the third, fourth place teams knew that there's only going to be one Big 12 team getting the championship anyway. So once you lose a game,
right,
there's not a ton more to play for. You lose 2 or 3, you're out of the conference championship. So
Well, yeah. Well,
then you're done.
Well, even then, we'll go back a couple of years ago. Whenever OSU, won the conference, or Baylor. Let me say when Baylor beat OSU, right. They still had no shot at the national title,
right?
Because they were ranked so low.
Yep.
They surprised OSU and beat them in the finals, and they get that bid in the top whatever they called the
right.
bowl games. But it was still a game that didn't matter because you're going to national champion. Now if you're that team that accidentally beats the undefeated in season conference, whatever they call those guys, the guy that went undefeated and won the conference but didn't win the title game. Now you still get a chance. If you beat them, you still get that free bye. You're the champion.
Yeah, you got a shot now. And
so everybody plays hard now.
I think that's going to be the best part about this new alignment is how it's set up like that. Everybody's going to give it a shot.
Let's go to this team here.
Who we got?
That Colorado Buffalo team. They've got a second-year coach who I'm trying to pick the right words. He's just a person, people. He's just a football player who decided to be a coach.
Right.
That's all he is.
And the issue, Shedeur Sanders, really good. Should be really good. Travis Hunter, probably the best player in the conference. He brought in 10 linemen through the portal because he realized their offensive line was horrendous last year.
Right.
Brought in a new new coordinator, offensive coordinator, Pat Shermer.
Right.
Probably going to have one of the better offenses in the conference. But defense, horrible.
Sure.
Absolutely horrible. Couldn't stop anybody. All they got is Travis Hunter, but he's playing both ways. And as good as he is, he's going to get tired. But
it was
they've got the potential to be really good, but I just don't think they're going to do it.
Well,
I think it's Deion Sanders. Everything's overblown anyway.
The team unfortunately bought into the hype machine that was the media.
Yes,
they did. They beat TCU, who was not a good football team last year, and then they beat Nebraska, who's an average team at best, and then they beat Colorado State in 2 overtimes.
Right.
And all of a sudden, everybody was saying they're going to go play.
Undefeated.
They're going to go to the national title game. They're going to play it all. Just stop.
Yeah, just stop. Because once again, he's brought in a ton of transfers. Like I say, 10 linemen alone.
Yes.
So he's revamping everything again, retooling everything again.
Which is going to make it hard on the kids.
And my opinion, this is his last year there because his son's going to graduate or go to the pros. Right. So I think he's gone after this year anyway. He'll go somewhere else.
Possible.
They got the potential to probably score.
Well, he's only going to the pros if only certain teams draft him because he doesn't want to go anywhere else.
I mean, I think they got the potential to score 30 to 35 a game, but whether or not they can keep anybody under 40, I don't know. That's the one thing. You have to see it to believe it because he hasn't proven it in 2 years. Yeah. Other than 2 or 3 NFL caliber defensive players, but they can't. There's 11 on the field. So
he just can't. I don't know who's his coordinator, Robert Livingston.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to let him actually coach or not.
The guy came from the Bengals. I mean, he was an NFL guy.
You can score as much. You can score as much as you want, but you got to stop somebody. And this team, I don't know.
Until they can finally prove to me they can stop somebody.
Well. Yeah,
there's only so much Sanders and Hunter can do.
Well, we've talked a whole lot about transfers on these podcasts about so many people coming in. There's going to be a learning curve, and that's understandable. But my problem with this particular situation is that he brought in so many. How many players can you hope will assimilate to the system so quickly to allow you to be competitive?
Yeah, you can't.
There's so many.
I mean, and that's what I didn't understand was that his first year coaching, he brought in 60 transfers or whatever, and everybody just applauded him for retooling and redoing Colorado and making them a program where it didn't amount to anything. Is these kids didn't. There was no meshing,
right.
You bring in that that no nonsense mentality, which I don't believe that, but it's based around his kid, which his kid's good. I mean, I give him now. Is he good as everybody says he is? I don't think so. I mean, I was watching something a couple weeks ago. They're comparing him to Caleb Williams in college, and stop.
Yeah, he's just as good. He's just as good as Bronny.
Quit.
Now let's move on.
Quit.
TCU.
Is that conversation?
Oh, TCU. You're really, really good, or you're really, really bad.
Yeah, you don't know. Again, another one of those teams you just don't really ever know what you got. They got a new coordinator,
Uh-huh.
Andy Avalos from Boise State. The guy is
Sure.
supposed to improve that defense that gave up 28, 29 a game last year.
Yeah.
So that's I don't know.
Well, Sonny Dykes, he always does fun things. You know,
Right.
you never know what he's going to do. He's one of those guys that you enjoy. You enjoy just saying, okay, what's he going to call next? Hell, I don't know. What do you think he's going to call next? You know, he's one of those guys. And
They hit the portal hard too on offense. Good
Oh, they
Lord,
did.
brought in some people. So
what'd they bring?
30. I mean, oh, good Lord. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Wow.
6 on the offense of we're either a back or a receiver.
Wow.
Just transferring in. I mean, so he's on offense that average 38 points a game in Big 12 play. So he's going to put points up.
Wow.
And he brought in, like I say, a new coordinator for defense in hopes to put the lid on the defense for a change.
I mean,
if they can stop people, they can make them. Not going to win the conference, but they can make a little bit of noise, I think.
well, they're another team that's only got 2 non-conference games. They got Stanford, and they got Long Island.
Which are 2 wins, which is good scheduling. They're a big name
Yeah.
that you're going to beat in Long Island.
Well,
I
then-
didn't know they had a football team.
Then it's all Big 12 stuff.
Right.
You know, and so it's just going to be see how good you can play against your team.
Yeah.
They got UCF, SMU, Kansas, Houston, Utah.
UCF, they're not beating UCF.
No,
So
well-
UCF is.
Well, speaking of, let's talk about UCF.
I got them as, again, I don't think they're going to win the conference, but I got them as one of my. I think they're going to finish. I think they got a shot to finish in the top 4 or 5.
Of the conference?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it's,
I think they
Yeah.
got potential. If their quarterback, if KJ Jefferson, that transferred from Arkansas, I think he's really good. If he can perform, I think they got a shot to really do some damage.
Well,
and
they've got-
surprise some people.
they've got 6 or 7 starters
Yes.
coming back on offense. They only got 3 or 4 on defense.
Yep.
I mean, the defense is pretty good last year. They gave up 25 points a game.
Yep.
They scored 31, 32 points a game. They, they've got the same head coach. Malzahn's just,
You bringing in Ted Roof from OU,
yeah.
run the defense.
Yeah.
Gus Malzahn's an offensive genius.
Right.
Everybody, I mean, it's just a known deal. You bring in a good defensive guy.
Right.
Man, I don't know. I mean, they got like 4 or 5 transfers on defense. I
Well-
think they just got potential.
The problem,
To be good.
the only thing I mean, there's some good news and some bad news on their schedule. Okay, they start out with New Hampshire and Sam Houston.
Right.
No problem there. They go to TCU the 3rd game of the year. We don't know what TCU is going to be. Yes, no, maybe so. Let's assume they win that
Right.
game.
I still think they win that. But yeah.
Then they got Colorado at home.
Yep.
Should be a win.
They'll beat Colorado.
Then October 5th, they have to go to Florida and play in Tallahassee.
That's probably. We'll talk about Florida. I mean, what Florida team are you going to get this year?
There you
I mean,
go.
You
See,
don't
there-
know.
That's my thing. UCF
Yeah.
and Florida has become a rivalry. So they got Florida next year. Now listen to the rest of the schedule. Cincinnati, Iowa State, BYU, Arizona, Arizona State, West Virginia, Utah. No Kansas State, no Kansas, no Oklahoma State.
West Virginia.
Only
No
thing
Tech, yeah,
only
maybe.
thing they got left strongly is Arizona.
That's what I'm saying.
And so
And
they
Utah.
could. You may be right.
So I think they got a shot to win
You
9,
may be right. They could win 9.
10, maybe.
Yeah.
If KJ Jefferson comes through and does what they're saying he'll do and what he was capable of doing, this is just one of those things I think you got to watch out for. They're my surprise pick in this one.
Well,
I don't think they're winning it, but
Well-
they're going to give it a run.
We'll see.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about the Big 12 this year. We don't know. We don't know. Without OU and Texas in there, we don't know.
Right. Yeah, there's
You
not
know.
just that automatic. Okay,
And-
who's finishing
Well-
3rd?
Well, and it's not.
through 7.
Well, and this is the thing. It's not just OU and Texas.
Uh-huh.
OU and Texas aren't there. Okay.
Right.
But you're looking at Cincinnati and BYU and
Houston.
and UCF who are brand new. They just played one season.
Right.
And now you got 4 more. You got Arizona, Arizona State, Utah, and Colorado. So now you've basically got 8 new teams going in there fighting as 8 other teams. And then OU and Texas isn't. We just don't know.
That's going to be. I think this is going to be the most fun one conference to watch this year.
Oh, I think so. I really think so.
It's going to be great to watch.
Let's look at the Red Raiders, Texas Tech. 7-6 overall last year. They got a really good schedule. They got Abilene Christian, then they go to Washington State, then they play North Texas. All 3 winnable.
Oh yeah.
Then you got Arizona State. at home. Then you got Cincinnati at home. Then you go to Arizona, probably a loss. Then you got Baylor at home. Then you go to TCU. Then you go to Iowa State, 2 tough games. Then you got Colorado at home. Then you got at Oklahoma State, and you end at West Virginia. I mean, I can see 7 wins. I can see 8 wins.
Possibly. They only got 8. They got 8 returning starters, only 2 on offense.
Yeah.
But it's the quarterback and Taj Brooks, which is probably the second best running back, and that's only because Ollie Gordon's in the conference.
Yeah.
Taj Brooks is an All-American, so the running game, going to be there. But they lost 3 of their top 4 receivers.
Yeah.
They got to replace a lot, but like you said before.
Well,
Tech's always that team that they scored 27, they gave up 27.
yeah. See, this is the deal about Texas Tech. They're always fun to watch.
Yes.
They're fun to watch because they were a lot more fun when Mike Leach was around, but they're fun to watch because they always have a good offense.
Mm-hmm.
They sometimes have a good defense, but then there's those games with that year when they have a great offense that they score 14, but their defense shuts people down. Texas Tech is fun to watch.
Yeah, or the other way around, where they'll score 40, but they're giving up 35. So
yes.
Tech is. I got them right in the middle of the road for that reason.
Yeah.
You never really know.
I
think don't know who's showing up.
I think you could lay money down and say that Texas Tech wins 7 games.
Yeah, that's what I have. That's actually what I had them down at.
But
win season.
But if the line says Texas wins 7.5, you're going to play over or under. I'm not going to play it.
I'm not going to play it.
I'm not going to play it because I just don't know.
They could win 9. They could win 5.
Yeah. So they're just
Tech's always that team that I'm always worried about. You just don't know.
Yeah.
You can't mark them as an automatic win or a
no.
loss.
Let's go to West Virginia.
West Virginia.
9-win season last year. Pretty solid, pretty steady. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 offensive starters of a team that scored 32 a game.
Yep.
You got 4 or 5 defensive starters. They gave up 26 a game. They were pretty well balanced last year.
You got a good offense, a good quarterback returning. One of the few that don't have a transfer quarterback coming in competing for a job.
Well, what was odd about them is they won they lost 4 games. Okay, they lost to Penn State opening week. Okay, opening week, anything can happen.
Right.
But then you win 4 straight. Then you lose to Houston.
Yeah. Which is what knocked them out of any kind of talk.
But then next week you're still down. You lose to Oklahoma State. But then you pop UCF and BYU. Then you get shelled by Oklahoma, and then you beat Cincinnati and Baylor. So they were they were good enough to beat OSU. They were good enough, damn sure good enough to beat Houston. They just got flat out played by Penn State.
See, I put them and Tech as they're basically the same team. You never know.
I agree with that.
You never know week to week.
I agree with that.
Where they're going to score, where they're going to win 35-10, or if they're going to lose 47-2. I mean, you don't know what you're running into with West Virginia.
Well, I mean, Garrett Green's back. I mean, he's a really good quarterback.
They ought to put up points.
Yeah, he's a good quarterback. I mean, the defense was solid enough last year to stay in games, and they got the core of. I mean, it's still got the core of it in there.
I think they finished in the top 5 or 6 of the conference.
Well,
that's it.
Well, they start again with Penn State. So Penn State's at West Virginia. Then they got Albany, which is a win.
I would love to see them beat Penn State.
I would too. And then they go to Pittsburgh. So you got Penn State, Albany, Pittsburgh. They could possibly win 3.
See, they could if they start off 3-0.
Yeah.
They're going to do some damage.
Well, but here's the problem.
Who do they got in the Big 12?
Here's the problem.
Right. Who do they?
Let's say you win 3.
Right.
Then you play Kansas at home, at Oklahoma State, Iowa State at home, Kansas State at home, at Arizona. Bang, 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 bang. 4 of the best teams in the Big 12 you play in the next 5 games. Kansas, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Arizona.
But again, you're not looking at any of those saying, "Oh, that's a loss."
No, but you look.
Right.
I'm looking at them saying they're not going to be favored.
Right. Probably not.
I mean, they might be favored against Kansas at home. Well, it depends on what they do the first 3 games.
Sure.
Depends on what they do. I mean, if you go out there and beat Penn State, you're favored against Kansas.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
If you lose to Penn State, you beat Albany, you beat Pittsburgh. Well, then you're probably. It depends on what Kansas does. I mean, if Kansas just does what Kansas is supposed to do.
Yeah, we'll talk about them here.
I don't know. This is another. I'm with you. This is another Texas Tech for me.
Yes. Yeah, right in the middle of the road. They could win 9 or they could win 5.
They're going to be really good, or maybe they're not going to be so good.
What happened to them?
Yeah, we're just got to see how they start out the season. You see how they start out the season, you can make a decision, especially because they're playing Penn State. Unlike Texas Tech, who plays Abilene Christian and Washington State and North Texas.
Well, at least Washington State's
Yeah, but West Virginia plays Penn State, then they got Pitt. So you've still got two pretty decent games.
West Virginia Penn State game is going to be one of the best ones to watch that first week of the session. That's going to be a good matchup.
August 31st coming up.
Oh yeah.
All right, here we go. We're going to go with the top 6. What?
Who you got?
I got Iowa State.
Iowa State. That's what I got.
Iowa State number 6. I like Matt Campbell.
Oh yeah.
I like Matt
Oh, yeah.
Campbell.
Yeah,
He's a good coach.
Why he's still there is really surprising. But yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. Why, of all these coaches changes, all these this guy here,
he's had the potential. He just hasn't.
Well,
he's had the chance to go. He just hasn't.
I think he's going to go eventually. I mean, he's going to get to the point where he's just not going to be able to move this team any higher than where they've been. And I think he's going to be a good hire for somebody. He always has his team ready to play. He's got damn near his entire offense coming back. That only scored 26 a game. They're only going to get better. You got damn near your entire defense coming back. That only gave up 22 a game.
Yeah, their defense is good. They got a couple. Jeremiah Cooper, who's potentially for one here defensive player of the year candidate for him.
I got these guys sitting. I got these guys sitting at 6. I think they could potentially be 1 or 2.
I think I was gonna say I think they could break the top 3 or 4.
These guys.
I look at them to win 9, maybe 10.
They've got so many guys coming back, and Campbell always gets them ready to win. But the thing that shunned me away is, last year all your Iowa you lost, OU you lost, Kansas you lost, Texas you lost. They beat everybody they were supposed to, and they lost to everybody they were quote supposed to. Right. They couldn't win a big game, and that's going to be a problem for them.
Right, but I think I'm like you. I like Matt Campbell. I think he's one of those guys that I think could actually is actually worth 1 or 2 wins in a season just because of his coaching ability. So I really think it may be
good.
A little bit of a down year last year, a little bit. I mean, hell, they won 7, but I look at them to win 9 this year.
Yeah. Well, I
mean,
mean,
they got the
I mean, you play UCF, you play Kansas, you play Utah, you play Kansas State. You don't play Oklahoma State. You don't play Arizona.
Right.
So
this is a top-heavy conference.
50-50.
Yeah, you're not gonna escape everybody this stuff. That's
no.
Sure. It's a top-heavy conference.
These guys are good enough to win some games.
Yes.
It just depends on if they can. Well, when's their first big game? They got North Dakota, and they play at Iowa. If they win Iowa. At Iowa, this is going to get them going on the right path.
Every year, but that's funny. Every year, that's the game for both those schools that kind of sets the tone for their season. Yeah. So, yeah.
But let's assume for a second they beat Iowa. Okay, so you beat North Dakota, then you beat Iowa, then you beat Arkansas State, then you got Houston, who you beat, then you got Baylor at home,
that's a win.
Then you got West Virginia and UCF and Texas Tech and Kansas. Bang.
Those all 4 are toss-ups.
It depends on how those first 3 or 4 games go, whether or not they're going to be competitive in those. In my opinion, we'll see. Yeah. But Iowa State's got some potential. They do have potential. Oh, yeah. So good enough to be in the top 2 or 3, but average enough to be number 6 or 7.
6. Yeah.
So
exactly.
Let's go to Arizona. Yep. Arizona Wildcats, number 5.
New to the conference.
New to the conference, new surroundings. Got the quarterback coming back. 6-7 starters from a team that averaged 35 points a game. Defense was really good too. Only gave up 21. What do you got?
Well, I mean, their coach, which I thought this was kind of pretty telling on him, Jed Fish. 10-win season last year, and 21 when he started, he was 1-11. So, wow. I mean, he's brought this team up. He's brought them up. They're good. They got Noah Fifita coming back. They got some transfers from San Jose State, New Mexico coming in. They're going to score. Their problem is going to be stopping people, but they had a decent defense. But they're going to score. They averaged 35 a game last year. They're going to be dangerous. They got a shot. I think they're the ones I think got a shot to finish in the top 2, maybe 3. They're going to tend to the title. I think they're going to give it a run.
I think it's possible. And we'll get to it here in a minute. These other teams that are left. I mean, I think Arizona is a very good team. I think they're disciplined. I think they're solid. I think they got a great offensive scheme. I think their defense is one of those what they like to call a shutdown defense.
I think they're a top 4 team in the conference.
Their schedule: you got New Mexico, Northern Arizona, then you go to Kansas State, then you go to Utah, and then you've got Texas Tech, at BYU, Colorado, West Virginia, at UCF, Houston, at TCU, and Arizona State. You don't play OSU.
Right.
You don't play Kansas State. Oh, you do play Kansas. Don't play Kansas.
They play Kansas.
So they're going to be tested early with Kansas State, the third game of the year. They're going to be tested early, see how they're playing at. Then they come right back and play at Utah. So you got 2 games, bang bang, week 3 and 4. How good are you?
Right.
How good are you?
I think that yeah. They're one of them and UCF are my 2 big teams. I think they could really surprise them.
Well, UCF still scares me
Mm-hmm.
about what they could be,
Yep.
but they gotta prove it.
But they bank. I bank that strictly on their quarterback.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kansas State. Kansas State Wildcats. Yeah, they're 9-4 last year. I got them below the other guys just because they lose so much on offense. They just lose so much. I mean, yeah, they scored damn near 40 points, 37 points a game, but they lose. I mean, they only got 3 or 4 guys.
But they lost Will Howard. Will Howard went to Ohio State.
Exactly.
That hurts them.
Exactly.
That's what I had. Because I had him at just blindly looking and just from what I knew, I had him like number 2.
Right.
But then looking at it farther, I was like,
Yeah.
man. Then I had to move him down to number 5.
Well,
you just don't know what's going to happen.
well,
quarterback wise,
I keep him at number 4 because the
they
defense.
just lost a lot.
They damn near have their entire defense
Right.
coming back, and they only average giving up 21
Right.
points a game. They're going to stop people. And in the Big 12, they had a great pass defense. They shut people down.
But you still got in this conference.
But you still
better be able to score.
You still have to score,
Right.
and I couldn't put them any lower than 4 because they've just been recently so good,
Right.
and they.
Yeah, no, they got the potential.
I know. It's one of those teams that's just kind of baffling to me.
Yeah.
They lose the guy.
Yes.
You lose the guy, but your defense is still intact. So
and that's where they're going to have to rely on a lot.
Yeah.
I said depending on I don't even see who they're thinking is going to come in and take the reins at
well,
quarterback.
they're saying Avery Johnson.
Okay. All right.
So
but they lose a lot with Will Howard.
yeah.
So you lose a guy who produced that much for you. You're in my mind, you're a question mark until you see what he does.
Well,
So,
he was.
and where do they start out at? Where do
They go to UT Martin.
Okay.
Then they're at Tulane.
Okay.
Then they have Arizona at home. At BYU. Oklahoma State at home. At Colorado, at West Virginia.
Okay.
Kansas at home, at Houston. They end with Arizona State, Cincinnati, and Iowa State. So the end of the schedule is pretty smooth. If they can get through the middle, they're just iffy with it. I gotta see how Avery Johnson plays it.
Right, that's the big thing. I mean, I could see him only winning 7, but if Johnson comes through and produces for this offense, hell, they could win 9.
Well, they're a shutdown defense.
But because their defense is so good.
If they can stop these teams like they did last year,
Right.
I mean, they could still win some games. I mean, looking at last year, UCF they scored 31 on them. OSU scored 29 on them. You know, Texas Tech only scored 21. TCU 3 points. Houston 0. Yeah, they've got an offense that can a defense that can do the job.
Right,
So,
exactly.
let's look at the Jayhawks. Kansas.
Still talking about Kansas Jayhawks playing good football.
I know,
I
but damn it.
tell you what, offensively,
Yeah.
between Jalen Daniels, Devin Neal, Lawrence Arnold, Quentin, their offense is something else.
Right.
They're getting better on defense. I think Leopold's another one of those guys that I can't believe he's still there.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else is going to get him. I don't know. They got a shot. I mean, I don't know how their schedule lines up. But
Well, they don't play Oklahoma State, they don't play Utah, and they don't play Arizona.
there you go.
That's why I got them number 3.
Then that they can make some noise.
They got somebody named Lindenwood to start the season. They go to Illinois.
Is that a place or is that a
They go to Illinois. They play at Illinois, which is winnable.
They can win that.
They're at home against UNLV.
They can win that.
Now the conference. They're at West Virginia. Tough game.
Tough.
TCU at home.
They can win that.
At Arizona State.
They can win that.
Houston at home. At Kansas State. Tough.
Ooh. Yeah, that one's going to be tough.
Then they end with Iowa State, BYU, Colorado, and Baylor. This team has got a schedule that's made to finish in the top 2. They could get to the title game.
Yeah, they finished that last 3 games is really conducive to them doing something good.
Well, if they've only got one loss coming into the last 4, you got Iowa State at home, BYU on the road, Colorado at home, and Baylor on the road.
Right.
You've got potential if you can get into that with just one loss, dropping either Kansas State or West Virginia, if you can get into that with one loss, you got a potential playing in the title game and possibly going to the playoff.
Yeah, you got a shot for it.
There, I mean, it's
And I would love to see it. I would love to see Kansas in the Big 12 title game. I think that'd be great, just for all the beatings that they take.
I love their helmets.
Yeah. Oh, they got cool uniforms.
So
they got cool uniforms.
So I was going to put them 6th, and then work my way up from there. But I couldn't deny the damn schedule.
I got them at 3.
I couldn't deny the schedule.
No. And I love Jalen Daniels. Their offense is just fun to watch. Jalen Daniels he's a stud. So
Utah Utes. They're losing damn near their entire offense.
Yeah.
But Utah is one of those teams that just blinks their eyes, and all of a sudden, guess what? Here we are again.
Yeah.
We're going to beat your ass.
And they got Cam Rising coming back from injury. If he is healthy, and they're going to be a problem.
Well, and again, I'm going to take a deep breath. I usually say this in the Big 12. We're going to have to start saying this. They got a really good defense.
Yeah.
I mean, they only averaged 19, giving up 19 a game. They stopped it, and damn near all of the defense is coming back. And I'm sure he went out there on the portal and got him a couple more linebackers that'll destroy people.
Oh yeah. He went the portal hard. He's got transfers in from Georgia Tech, Stanford, Michigan. They got 2 or 3 defensive linemen coming back from the offensive line. He went in and hit the portal, and Utah can do that.
Yeah.
And like I said, you got Cam Rising.
Well, Cam Rising, he's just seen the
If
guy.
he's healthy,
the guy's been around forever. He knows how to play the game. He knows how to manage a game. He's strong. He's effective. He's efficient.
But they go as he goes. As you can tell, last year he got hurt and they suffered.
Exactly.
If he's healthy,
they did suffer on the offensive side,
Right.
but the defensive side,
Right.
defense still kept them in games, except for Arizona. You don't count that.
I think if Rising is healthy, I think they got a shot to win it.
Well, they can. I mean, they got. Well, let's see what their schedule. They got Southern Utah, and they got Baylor, and they got Utah State. Then they're at OSU.
Utah State's good.
Yeah, they're at Oklahoma State. That's a loss.
That's going to be the big game right
Then,
there.
well, they're at Oklahoma State, then home against Arizona, back to back.
Back to back.
But then they end Arizona State, TCU, Houston, BYU, Colorado, Iowa State. Their last game is at UCF. So if they're in the hunt, I mean, we could have Utah and UCF playing for that last game of the season to get into the playoff.
The fact they play OSU that early, that game's going to tell a whole lot right there.
Oh,
for both teams.
That's going to break it.
Yeah.
That's going to break it. I mean,
it's
the 4th game of the season. You got Utah and Oklahoma State, and they're at Oklahoma State. Whoever wins that game, I think, is in the driver's seat.
Yeah, they got the inside track.
You know, and I'm really sorry it's the 4th game of the season. You know, because we still haven't.
Well, yeah, because college football, once you get to the 7th, 8th week, everybody forgets what happened in that 3rd, 4th week.
Well, but week 4, you really don't have your best team in week 4.
Right.
You're really not. You know, and that's what scares me about Oklahoma State playing Utah.
Exactly.
Week 4.
Yep.
But I think O State. This is without OU and Texas there to worry about. I think OSU. I think OSU wins this conference, and it's not just because I'm wearing the shirt. It's because you got a 35-year-old quarterback, 40-year-old. How old is he now?
Good God, I don't know.
I've never been a Bowman fan.
It's going to live and die. I mean, they got Ollie Gordon, they got Brendan Presley.
I know.
Probably 2 of the top 4 or 5 in the conference.
Which is the only. Well, there's 2 or 3 reasons here on OSU. Number one, Bowman's coming back. He knows the offense. He knows Gundy. Gundy knows Bowman. Bowman knows Gundy. Number 2, he's got Ollie Gordon coming back. He's got Brandon Presley coming back. He's got his entire offensive line coming back. Okay, we're going to score some points. We only averaged 30 last year. Guess what? We're probably going to average 35.
Yes.
Maybe more. I don't know. But the defense is basically all there. We only gave up 28 points a game. I get that. But
your linebacker crew, you got Colin Oliver and Nick Martin both coming back.
Yes.
Preseason All-American.
Yes.
This is the year that it's lined up perfectly for them.
This is the year that it's lined up for Oklahoma State to finally win a clean championship. South Dakota State.
Yeah.
Arkansas at home. I know.
I think they can. Being at home helps. I think they win that game.
Oklahoma State's better than they are.
Yes.
Well, on paper, Oklahoma State's better. Then we go to Tulsa. Then we got Utah at home. Here we go. Game of the year, 4th week of the season. Then we're at Kansas State right after.
Damn
So you got Utah and Kansas State, bang.
Yep.
If you can get past Arkansas, you go into
You're
Utah
at
3-0
at Kansas State.
at Kansas State.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. And then you got West Virginia. So we got Utah, Kansas State, and West Virginia.
Yep.
Bang, bang, bang. And then it's a smooth ride. BYU, Baylor, Arizona State, TCU, Texas Tech, and Colorado.
No, their whole season is going to be decided after week 5.
Mm-hmm. 4, 5, 6.
Yep.
4, 5, 6.
'Cause
And
if you lose 4 and 5,
well, my point is, if you
Right.
lose to Arkansas, I don't think you can.
Yeah.
I don't think you can expect to win those 3. You beat Arkansas
I think you beat Arkansas
at home.
Right.
Well, then you can go down to Tulsa and beat them, and don't look ahead. Tulsa's crafty
Well, and anytime Tulsa plays OU or OSU,
in Tulsa.
you look back at the history of Tulsa playing OU or OSU.
Yeah.
I doubt very seriously. I don't know for sure, but I doubt very seriously you're going to see very many times they got blown out because
Right.
they always compete. They
Right.
always get up for that game. That's like their biggest game of the year. When
Sure.
they put those guys on the schedule.
Sure. I mean, last year OSU only lost 2 games. Well, they lost the title game against Texas, which shouldn't have even been there, but they were, and they
Right.
lost or whatever. Utah's going to be really good. Kansas State's got the potential to be really
Yes.
good. West Virginia's going to be kind of good. So if you get past Arkansas and then you can beat Utah at home, the season rides on that Kansas State the week after. It just does.
Yeah.
But
that's it. 3 big games. In a
well,
row.
but this is the good side. Okay, this is the good side. Let's say you lose either Utah or Kansas State.
Right.
You're sailing pretty smooth the rest of the season.
Yeah,
You're going into the title game with 1 loss.
Yeah, if you can take that Arkansas, Utah, Kansas State 3 games, if you can win 2 of the 3,
Yeah.
you're still set up pretty good.
Yeah, I
You're
mean,
still set up good to have a legitimate shot to get the playoff.
yeah, I think you can get into that title
Yes.
game. I really
Definitely.
do. I think you get a title game, and if you win the title game, you're the 4th seed.
Right.
It's that
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
You know.
So I think
Um,
like I said, I got my top 3. I got OSU, then Utah, and I got Kansas. This is my top 3.
Yeah,
So,
I
with
agree.
UCF
Just
coming
like
in
it's
at
the
4 or
board.
5. That's my surprise.
I mean, I think the surprise is either going to be UCF or I still think Texas Tech's got they always shock the shit out of me.
Right.
I mean, but then again, Iowa State and Arizona both have potential. This Big 12 season is going to be so fun to watch because you still got the 4 newbies from last year that are still trying to fill out the conference. You got 4 brand new Pac-12 teams that aren't used to playing Big 12 type football. You got eight Big 12 teams that aren't used to playing Pac-12 type football.
Right.
And you still got these 4 newbies from all over the country that it's just
You don't know.
I guarantee you there's a whole lot of film watching going on right now.
Oh, hell yeah.
Just trying to figure this shit out, and it's just going to be a fun season. Big 12 is going to I think the Big 12 is going to be the funnest conference to watch. I think it's going to be the most wide open. We got 6 teams sitting right here on the front label, and I think all 6 of those have a potential to be in the championship game of the
No,
Big 12.
definitely. Without a doubt.
And then you can add, like you said, add UCF. I mean, I hate to you possibly add Texas Tech or hell even West Virginia.
Possibly.
I mean,
yeah. But you don't know. That's the whole thing. You don't know.
You don't know. It's going to be fun to watch. It's just going to be great.
Yeah.
But anyway, we do appreciate you coming in and watching us. We're having a great time doing this for all you
yeah.
folks out there. We're moving closer. Episode. This might be episode number 50. I got to
Yeah, we're
look.
right up there on 50.
I got to look and check see
Yeah,
what
we're
episode
close
number
there.
this is whenever I edit and throw it out there. But anyway, we do want you to subscribe, like, share, push the little bell so you
Yep.
get ding dong
Get the
every
word
time
out
that we
there.
do something. Get the word out there. Get other people to follow along. So we can all talk about the same things at the same time. Get down there and comment. Let us know what we thought, what you thought about, what we missed. You gonna miss OU and Texas in the Big 12? Or are you really happy they're gone?
Yeah, I don't know.
Comment.
I'm glad they're out. They need to do something different. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
well,
think it
y'all
opens it up. In the Big
give us
12,
some
so.
comments in here and let us know what you think. I'm happy they're gone. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm living in Oklahoma like I have my whole life and listening to these things. It's always been OU, Texas, and then everybody
Well, I was gonna
else.
say it opens up the Big 12
Um,
for a whole lot of possibility. So
And it's just I just think the Big 12 is going to be a more competitive conference. It's going to be a lot more fun conference.
right,
I think it gives OU and Texas both an opportunity to grow. I mean, they got stagnant and mundane in this conference.
oh yeah,
They really did.
They did.
I mean,
they did.
the only rivalries they had truly in this conference was OU and Texas, I mean, Texas and OSU were building a rivalry, but it wasn't anything like OU OSU. Because
No.
it's the in-state.
No.
It's the in-state bedlam.
Right.
It was always there.
I am going to miss that.
Well, yeah, we'll miss OU Texas, OU OSU definitely, but Texas really didn't have a bitter rival. Now they go back to Texas A&M, and Texas A&M hates the fact that they're there, which I love.
And they got Arkansas.
Yeah, and they get Arkansas again.
The old Southwest Conference.
They get Arkansas again, and so it's gonna be fun for them over there. But Big 12 is gonna be great. So comment, like, share, support. Help us out, get the word out. We want more people watching, sharing. I want 1,000 subscribers before the football season is over. I want 1,000.
Make that happen.
That looked tough.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that was intimidating. I'm sure people are jumping on.
Anyway,
on right now.
We do appreciate you coming in, and hope to see you soon on the next podcast as we continue on to the Big 10 conference, and we'll get the SEC after that. Do you got anything else, Chuck?
That is it for now. We'll see y'all soon.
Talk to you later.